Hello, welcome back. Thank you for clicking on this week's video. My name is William, and along with my brother Andrew and my wife Laura, we run the attachment company. If you're new here, this is your first time clicking on one of our videos, thank you very much. To fill you in, as I said, my name is William. We run this business, the attachment company. We have two locations, one here in central Scotland run by myself and Laura, and one in Denver, Colorado is looked after and ran by Andrew. And the point of these videos is just to give you a behind the scenes look in as much detail as possible, the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, the positives, the negatives of running a business such as ours. So let's get into it. It's Monday afternoon, we are in the warehouse here in Carluke, Scotland. Started the day off getting a flail ready, one of the ones that we were doing the bracket for last week. Got that all bolted up, got the hoses on it, got it ready to go. Customer picked it up this morning. I didn't manage to get much footage of him picking it up because it was a little bit manic. There was a few people all in at the one time, but he's away with that to try it out. A few more orders to get ready today and tomorrow as well, so we will work our way through them. We're about to nip to the welders next, just to pick up some brackets to let us get some more of those said orders moving. We also had a customer in this morning to look at this. It's a Komatsu PC26. He's looking at buying his first machine, so he'd never been in a Komatsu before, so he was in to get a look at it and just get a feel for it and see what he thought of it. So fingers crossed something happens on that one. And as I said, we've got orders to head out as well. I'll show you them when they are ready later on. That's you pretty much up to date. Let's see what the rest of the week has to bring. Tuesday morning, and we have two more Kanjini flails about to head out today. Well, I was interrupted in the middle of doing the intro there, but for a good reason, because this is the IKEA delivery of furniture for last week. So that's us, got office furniture, we have carpet, we went to pick doors, skirtings and facings yesterday. I've got a door frame to check it fits. So we have all the parts required, or nearly all the parts required, to get these finished. So that would be excellent. But back to what I was saying, two Kanjini flails, prepped and ready to head out today. These are the same flail as yesterday, the TC1, but these are in the 800 wide version, so exact same direct drive flails, but in the 800mm wide cut width as opposed to the 600 from yesterday. Neither of these have the floating mechanism, the floating add-on that the one had yesterday. One here just got a straight flat bracket bolted to the top. That's a fairly standard way that they head out. And then this one has been built with the angled bracket specifically for hedge cutting. So those are going on a JCB 8026 and a JCB 8018. One's going fairly local, one's going down south, so good to see them getting through and back out. So I've got one One the customer's picking up later on today, and the other one we are going to send out on palletway, so I'm going to get that wrapped and get it ready to go. 1 PM, 1:30 PM Tuesday afternoon. It's a glorious day outside. Palletways were in for the 2 flails. No, they went in for a flail and an auger that I packaged up as well. They also dropped off that, which I'll show you in a minute. Laura's here as well. She is going to nip over to the welders, yes, with this. Do this modified on some 50mm pins. So they get the machine down to 45 and get it drilled out to suit the G-Rake order that came in yesterday. Oh boy, stay there. Stay there. I told you it was a lovely day out here. I'm going to do a little bit of tidying up outside. Then the customer is hopefully coming to pick that flail up. Then I have to get an order in for some hydraulic fittings, so we'll go through all the hydraulic fittings to try and make a stock order up for that in a minute. Before that though, let's get this unwrapped, see what arrived. Get this cracked open, see what we've got, shall we? There we are. Oh, what a mess. What a mess. Just crack the straps open. Over here. Very, very nice. Let me show you. So if you watch, was it tail end of last year, start of this year, we sent a container over to the US and it had a few of these in it, but this is the Intermercato GRX25 grab. We did a couple of these last week before last. The smaller ones, the 10 and the 15, but this is the biggest in the range. So this is the GRX25, the EG, the Selector grab version. I'll put the specs here on the screen so you can read them. This is for a customer order. We're getting a bracket. That was one of the brackets we took yesterday to the welders. Oh, I don't know, I can't keep track. Yesterday, I think. We took that over there, and they're going to make up a base plate for it so we can get that bolted up. I think the customer needs it tomorrow or the day after, so we're just waiting him confirming what size of hoses he wishes to fit on it. So yeah, pretty cool. This will be the first of this size that we've done, so will be good to see it ready to go. Good to see another one of those grabs going through. They're really nice and I like the product, but I do have some plans for grabs in the future that I can't quite share with you at the moment, but I will do in due course. Now, one of the next things we need to fix is this. So this currently is our hydraulic fitting setup. Simply put, you've got hose ends along here and then adapters along the top and then bits and pieces here, but as you can see, bunch of adapters and hose ends with no box to put them in, same as here. Same as here. It's getting out of hand really, so I know theoretically we should fix all this before we order more stuff, but I know we need some parts, so I'm going to get a stock order put in, and then we really need to make a start on trying to tidy that up, maybe find some more shelving or put some more shelving up for the parts. I did acquire a big pallet load of picking bins, which will come in very handy for that job once I find some more shelving to put them on. Yes, right, let's get a look through these, work out what we've got, what we've not got, what we need to order, and then that will let us make a plan on that front. This day, in all honesty, has got away from me a little bit, but the G-Rake, when you got the bracket unbolted on it, it should be ready for the new bracket. That's to go for an order tomorrow. We'll need to come and do that in a minute. Customer was in and picked up the flail as well, and the Volvo 140 that was sitting out the back with the Knox repair, it's done, picked up also, which means that we have a little bit of time on our hands here. Let's go and do a little bit of product testing and let you see one working. So it is the Slanetrac RB80. This is the block paving brush, the quad brush, the RB80. We've got this PC80 and actually belongs to my father, and somebody's coming to look at it tomorrow. I had to jump start it, so what I'm going to do is use it for a bit to clean up the yard here. So let me get this rigged up and show you this brush working. Not entirely sure if I've made things better or worse in here. I've certainly made a dust cloud, there can be no doubt about that. I have to do a bit of pressure washing. It's the problem with the brush is there's a bit of a technique when you're trying to move material or move dust to a certain place. As you can see, we've done a tremendous job of spreading it about the yard. But then I worked in a bit here and I have managed to kind of clear it out. So it's moved a lot of the heavy stuff, which is what I was wanting, but it's, yeah, far from finished. We might get another hour at it this evening. Anyway, it is Wednesday morning. It's another glorious morning too, which makes a massive difference. It's cold, but the sun's out and it's starting to warm up, so that makes a huge difference. Picked up a couple of brackets last night on the way home. In the middle of getting one of them painted, would you buy? And you come in the middle of getting one of them painted this morning. That's for the G-Rake, the GR150 that we had on the PC80. It's Scots Turf the other week, and the one we took the bracket off yesterday. So that is going on there. Nope, that's nonsense. That is not going on there. That is going on there. That is going on the grab that we got delivered yesterday. So they'll be finished getting painted here in a minute. Both of those should be ready to go tomorrow. And other news, I have a meeting at Maribeni Komatsu this morning. Being completely truthful with you folks. Here's my phone ringing, let me get this first and I'll update you in a minute. Tell you what, I should know by now not to get too emotional about this game. So customer was in, looked at the 26 on Monday, and I was 90% sure that we could have done a deal on it. So yeah, so phoned him the now there before I started recording this the first time, and short story long, it seems like he's been to see a couple of other machines and he maybe prefers the way, I think it's actually a Cabelco he's looking at, the way it operates compared to the Komatsu, and I 90% in my brain had that sold. So that's frustrating. However, who just phoned there was another customer who had completely wrote off their inquiry. I didn't think it was coming to anything. Back on to ask questions about it, and would there be one, a smaller machine than 26, would there be one available to look at and get a shot of, and so on. So one door closes, another opens, say all that cliche. Yeah, really need to learn to get, I should be no better than to get emotional about this game, but there you go. While we are on that subject, selling machines is it harder than I thought? Yeah, probably. I didn't think it'd be easy, I didn't think it'd be a walk, I didn't think they'd sell themselves, but I did think we'd have a bit more traction than what we are at the moment, so we need to change up some things on that front. We'll talk to Laura about it last night. I think what might be a good plan is that we buy one, or we commit to one of these machines as our demo machine. So like maybe the 26 or maybe the 55, I'm not sure yet, probably the 26. At least that customer that I was telling you about there, we could go and give them the machine for a couple of days, go and try it, see what you think, see the quality in it, see just operating it on a daily basis might hopefully be the difference. Anyway, my phone's ringing again, so I will update you here in a minute. What a day! Got a little clip there when I was in at Maribeni, if you want a quick look. Hopefully that gave you a quick look around one of the dozers that was in. Back now, Laura was here when I was away. We've had a couple of deliveries in that time. Pallet from Auger Torque, I'll open that in a minute because we need that for another order. And if we swing around here, a delivery from Simex. PL, I think that's a 4520. Skid steer mounted planer. I'll do a little bit more about that because it'll be going back out tomorrow or the day after. It wasn't actually meant to come here, it was meant to go direct to the customer, but as soon as it's here, we'll do a little bit on it and I'll show you around that in a bit. However, in the meantime, I'm going to finish packing this order, which is what we need the Auger Torque delivery for. Go get the bits on here and then I'll show you around. A fairly run of the mill one, another Auger Torque log splitter package. This time it's the 4500 max drive with a double pin cradle, 300mm auger, log splitter cone to fit a customer's Volvo ECR 25. It is going up to Inverness, as I say, fairly run of the mill in here. They're going to use it between the 3-ton Volvo and I think a 6-ton Doosan maybe. Hence why we've went for the slightly bigger drive unit, but that is pretty much ready to go. I'm going to get it banded up and wrapped and get it out here. Just like that, this day feels like it has got away with itself a little bit. However, Laura has been in, or she is still in somewhere, painting. The painting, very nearly done. And it is already 7 PM and we are getting out of here because I have a chiropractor appointment to get to, so I'm going to go there, then get up the road, but I think we need to get back to the yard cleaning. You alright? Painting done?
Nearly.
Nearly done. Painting nearly done, hopefully. What else are we waiting on when you pick doors?
Doors, and I actually thought about this today, the windowsills.
Windowsills, but they can go in. We can be in before we need to put the sills in. Yeah, sills.
Windowsills. We like it nice, chunky dark wood one.
Okay.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Pick doors, skirtings, facings.
I will do that tonight.
Do that tonight.
Carpet's there, just need to fit it.
Yeah, just need to get in.
And the skirtings, we need some help.
Yeah, we'll need to pig on as well.
Aye.
So yeah, that is us for, what day is it? Wednesday.
Wednesday. I actually thought it was Tuesday, but it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Kicking off Thursday in probably our most second visited place these days. Our order never arrived this morning when we needed it, so we are at Hydraquip. Going to pick our order of hydraulic fittings up because we're needing it for a couple of orders this morning, so let's get them loaded. Restocked for the time being. That will let us get this order, at least one of these, out today, so let's go and get that finished. It is of course the GR150 G-Rake. I have made the hoses for it. What we're waiting on was those adapters and a couple of 1/2-inch ferrules. So hoses are on, couplers are on, bracket is still drying in paint. I wasn't terribly happy with the paint finish we got in the bracket, so I've rubbed that down and I'm just going to give it another coat and then that can get bolted up and it will be ready to go. This is going on a customer's 8-ton Hyundai, I think. Came through a website order, so thank you very much for that. I'm going to the bracket on it, as I say, and it will be ready to go. We've also got the bracket done for the GRX grab. I'm just waiting on the lengths of hoses we need for that. So what we might do actually is get that bolted up while we're waiting on the paint drying on the G-Rake one. And then a big tilt bucket. We need, can you see that big tilt bucket? We need to get it actually stripped again, get the bracket off it to go and get one made for that. So busy start to the day. Let's get a move on and get some of these cracked out. I think it was just last week that we done the 120 version of this, so I won't bore you for too long on the details. Feel free to go back and watch that. Only difference with this is the 1.5, the 150 version. It's the exact same tool, it is just 300mm wider than obviously the 120, and this is suited for 4, 5 to 8 to 10 ton size machines. It is the biggest in the kind of standard range at the moment. Anyway, won't spend too long showing you around. Here is a quick clip of one working. G-Rake done, ready to go. Now before this heads back out, let me show you around it. We don't see a lot of these here. We do more than we actually show you, because a lot of times they are sent direct to the customer from the factory, because we don't stock a lot of them here. However, as you know, yesterday this one was delivered here incorrectly, so when it's here, let me show you around it. So this is a Simex PL4520 skid steer mounted road planer. Now the PL range of skid steer mounted planers come in a variety of models, all related to the width of the planer drum and the size of skid steer that you are putting them on. This one here is a good example. It's a fairly standard size, a fairly common size, at least here in the UK, for the size of skid steers and track loaders that we have here. So the 4520 is a 450mm wide drum, planer drum. It is very similar to the PLB 450, which is excavator mounted. It's essentially the same width and a very similar drum. This one here is fitted with the standard asphalt road milling teeth, which is what 90% of all planers that we do will be spec'd with. Now, while the size, the model of planer is largely determined by the carrier machine, by the oil flow that it can give the planer, and also the weight of the machine versus the weight of the attachment, all planers come in 3 standard spec models. So let me quickly run you through those. As you can see, this one is the advanced spec, which sits in the middle tier. I'll put them here so you can see them. You basically get Pro, Advanced and Optima. Pro being the first most basic spec, if you like, and Optima being the full spec most expensive. As standard, pretty much everything is manually operated in the Pro spec, so you've got manual depth adjustment. Side shift on all Simex planers from this model up the way are hydraulic. Everything smaller than this, the 400, the 250 are manual side shift and manual depth control. Now when I say depth control, this is your depth control on this unit. It's hydraulically operated, left and right independent depth control. This is your depth gauge, but obviously it's just covered for protection. So on this machine, this setup, you have depth control on both sides, meaning that you can plane, say like up a pavement, or if you've planed a line, you can then come around, set your depth on one side, set it on the other side, put it on the bit you've already planed, and then run down it, and you get a nice, smooth, even surface. Now this one behind me, the Advance, this is the middle of the road as far as spec options go. It's got everything the Pro has. The big difference being, as I said, on this one is the hydraulic depth adjustment. In the manual ones it is a screw adjustment. I'm looking to see if we've got one. Very similar, pretty much the same style as is on the excavator mounted with the manual telescopic screw. There's a tool goes in the end here, and that's what sets your depth. Whereas on the Advance and the Optima spec, this is hydraulically controlled, so the operator can do it from in the cab, and he can see where his depth is in the cab without having to get out and adjust it. The other feature is the Performer Indicator Gauge. That comes on the Advance and the Optima models. Now I'll put some literature here so you can read what it actually does, but essentially allows you when you are in the cab to ensure that your planer is working at maximum efficiency. And then the Optima spec, the top of the line, is for all intents and purposes exactly the same as this planer, only it has the built-in dust suppression. So within here, within the side shift, there will be a water tank, and then there are water spray nozzles in the top. You can see where the ports for them are there, in the top of the planer. Lets you just run inbuilt dust suppression. We have done a few in that spec, but generally the Advance behind me is what most people tend to go for. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a detailed look at the spec options. This pretty much applies for all the run-of-the-mill skid steer mounted planers, the 4520 to the 7520. There's some subtle differences on the smaller and the larger end, but for what we do, for pretty much all the skid steer loaders that we have here in the UK, that is your option. This one is going to a Manitou dealer down south. They are fitting it on a couple of different Manitou loaders, I think one wheel loader and one track loader. So it's ready to go. What came ready to go, as I say, it wasn't meant to end up here, but it is. They're going to pick it back up again and get it down to the customer. Bucket stripped. We are taking the bracket off there to go and get a new one made, because we designed those buckets for a 10-ton size machine, and in all honesty they're far too big and heavy. So the last one we adapted to a 14-ton machine. We're going to do the same with this one, then we'll get it back together, because we do have an order for it. So I'm going to go and drop that off, swap it with another bracket we done yesterday for a customer's order that should be in for that tomorrow. So yeah, we need to come up with a solution for this. So I just recorded a big bit there, and the camera had a fit and never recorded any of it. But yeah, we're going to go and get that dropped off, pick up a bracket for another order that customer should be picking up tomorrow. On that note though, we're doing a fair bit of running about here. It's great, the boys at the Welders, John and Grant, do great work, but we are spending quite a bit of time running back and forward. So a couple of thoughts in my mind for that I'll come back to related to that. But in the meantime, let's go and get this dropped off. 7 PM Thursday evening, and you go, let's round up the day. I just spent another half an hour or so there out on the digger with the brush on it, just getting a go over the yard. I think we're going to bring down the blower tomorrow, blow all the dust off, and that will make a massive difference. The outside bracket we picked up today is got paint on the underside of it, along with one from the other day. I'll flip that over in the morning and get the top side painted, and it'll be ready to go tomorrow. Intermercato grab. Hoses are done, couplers are on, brackets bolted up. I'll show you around that fully in the morning. And other than that, that is us pretty much done for Thursday. I'm going to go home, make my dinner and review last week's video. It will be out tomorrow. If you're watching this, feel free to go back and watch last week's video. But for the time being, that is us done, I think, for Thursday. Good boy. Good boy, come on then. Yay, good lad. Good lad, I didn't know where you went to. Have you seen the neighbours? Have you seen the neighbours? Yeah, we've got, or we are in the process of getting, I was going to say new neighbours, but we never had any to begin with. So moving in next door, much to his delight. They can go to the gate, we can go to the fence, sorry, and get all the pets that he wants. So I'm just going to do his hiding. We've got this off, let's get it in the pickup. Starting off Friday with a delivery. So these are some GeoXD buckets from Astrac that I have taken the pins out of a couple of them, and I will tell you for why. Now, yes, we should have our own attach works buckets for the Komatsu. Don't ask me why that's not happening in time, but they are en route. However, in the meantime, I needed some buckets for the 26, and Astrac, we deal with them quite often. They're fairly local to us. They're up in Kirkcaldy, and I have a good relationship with them, and I haven't actually seen any of their buckets. So they had stock. However, these are buckets to fit a Bobcat E26, which means the pin centres, so from the centre of this pin to the centre of this pin, matches the coupler that's on the Komatsu. However, the pin diameter is 35mm, and the pins on the Komatsu hitch, if you can see the data plate there, focus, are 30mm. So I'm going to do, knock all the pins out the buckets, and we will get the centre of the pin, so the bit where the hitch picks up on, machine down to 30. We'll leave it at 30 on the outside. That way we can get another set of 35s made. So these can either go with the Komatsu, or they can put 35s back in and they can go on a Bobcat as they were originally intended. We'll do a little bit of a comparison. I'm going to keep them, as I say, use them on the Komatsu for the time being. Then we'll do a little bit of a comparison when ours turn up, because I want to see how they compare. So we needed them, also a little bit of market research at the same time. I am going to throw one of the little buckets into the back of the pickup. Some other bits to go to the fabricators at some point today, so we'll get all that done at the one time. But I figured I'd show you around them when they landed. As I say, once we get ours here, we'll do a nice comparison of the two of them together and see what you think. I just missed recording it there, but the Simex planer I showed you around yesterday, just been collected there and on its way to its rightful owner, the first place it should have went to, rather than coming here, but it's been collected. I'll be down with the customer on Monday. On the subject of collections, look this out for a customer's coming to pick it up. Double pin cradle hitch, 225mm auger, X2500, as run of the mill package as it gets in here. That's going to a customer, it's actually going to a dealer for their customers, Kubota KX016. Just waiting the name turning up, and then we will nip over to the welders. Sure, this was meant to be the best day of the week.
No.
They're blowing back as hard as you can blow it away.
Yeah, fine. It's better there. I've got like on it.
It's much better there. Yeah, I hoped it was helping, but maybe it's not. It doesn't look much better there since we brushed it.
Oh, I put the bloody leaf blower over that.
That's what I mean. It looks much better there.
Yeah.
After brushing it with the digger and then blowing it away.
Like, it'll be fine for a little bit.
Everyone's back. They do what you manage.
Got on my teeth. Nice.
Oh, nice. Saturday morning, been to the gym early doors, got the workout in, got a stack of stuff to be doing today. So first things first, let's go get ourselves a coffee, get to the yard and get on with things. I will show you, we've got quite a few things lined up we need to get through, so let's go and get started. What do you think, Woody boy? First job of the day, we've got the trailer on because we're going to pick up some skirtings and facings for the office. Laura's dad is kindly coming to help us today for a few hours, try and get some skirtings and facings, and hopefully maybe the door lining on a couple of the door linings even in the office, which would be a huge help. So hopefully before the rain gets any worse here, we can go get these on and get them back. There we are, made it back and still dry, which is even better. just moved the trailer on for the first time in a while. I was talking to Laura about this last night, and we're weighing up actually selling that trailer and buying a brand new plant trailer, because if we are going to put the 26, the PC26 on as a demo, as a demonstrator machine, we really need a nice trailer to be taken around with. So if anybody's in the market for a 14 foot, I think that's 14 or 12 foot flat trailer, I for Williams, with a crane on the front, let me know. A few other updates. This landed back in last night. A little bit of work to do to the grab, so when we fitted a couple of weeks ago. I will explain more on that when we get to it. This little guy arrived as well, an Intermercato G-Rake 10. That's one we picked the bracket up for yesterday, so we've got that to get ready as well. So when I say plenty on, there's plenty on. So we get the Sany out, we'll get it in down the bottom of the workshop, and when I get to that I'll show you what we're doing with it. Get these skirtings and facings off, get them ready to go, and then we can take the rest of the day for there. Right, while I'm sitting in here moving this digger, let me explain to you what the issue is with the grab and how we're planning to fix it. We'll get to it later on, but when I'm sitting in here I might as well show you. So I have a piece of timber I've lifted there. Let me slow it to the side, I'll show you. That there is the issue. I don't know if you've seen that, so put some revs on, open the grab, grab this piece of timber, and I'll hold it like that because I've got my finger holding pressure on the circuit. But if I let my finger go, watch what happens. So it doesn't hold position. And it's not too bad because I'm just holding that light piece of timber, but excuse me, so I'm trying to do this here with one hand. But if you lift some, see there, if you try to lift something heavier, then it does give you a little bit of an issue. This is the one we fitted a couple of weeks ago. If you click back, look at the video up here, but the customer's more than happy with it, just that one little problem he would like to fix. It doesn't really show up until certain applications, but he was on a job, he was holding a piece of tree, and unless you held pressure constantly on the auxiliary circuit, it never actually gripped it. The remedy at the moment, as far as my plan at the moment, is to fit a hydraulic check valve on the ram, so it will go between both of the hose ports, and then the hoses will come out from there. That should mean that when you grab it, it holds the pressure on whatever was in the circuit, holds the pressure on. So I'll update you when we come back to that later. Alright, check valve fitted. First things first, let's make sure it works and that we don't have any leaks. Well, that is not meant to happen. Crisis averted, check this out. So that one's on me. I forgot to check that the grab, or the machine sorry, was in double acting mode. for the auxiliaries rather than single acting breaker mode. So yeah, problem solved. Now let's give it a try, shall we? Much better. That would have fell out before, so
That's good.
problem solved. What have you been up to?
Pressure washing.
It does look much better.
Yeah, but my pressure washer's broke.
So was having my dad in today to help put the skirtings on. So let's see. What are you doing?
Looking to see the size of the door. Have you got doors ordered?
No. This is one use, different use for our hitch brackets. They're heavy.
Never be stuck either, heavy.
Oh, I wasn't watching the door coming down then. Please take us on a dark tour of the office. Hopefully get done.
Frames on. Door frames are done.
Yes.
And then the skirtings, put them on. We have it overkill for the, what would you call that, support?
Yeah.
Yeah. Consider there's how many in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 13 I'm looking for some in here.
About £1,500 worth of brackets.
And then one in here. I don't know if I was in here first and then
Oh, we done for the night.
yes.
What have you been doing?
I have been pressure washing pretty much all out the front and then leaf blowing type all these stones after you're brushing up during the week. I like those really nice.
We'll get this window uncovered as well, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, looks not very great now, but will look good with the lights
Clean,
on.
clean too.
Happy with the progress?
Yes.
Stay in the light.
Dan made a good suggestion. That's a skirting board for the windows.
Alright. You happy with it?
Maybe we'll see. Problem if they're not the same size.
No.
So we'll see. Potentially.
Pretty much a bit too good.
I want a nice like line wood one would be kind of cool. Or like dark one.
We're sorted.
I don't know, this office is getting quite flamboyant. Is that the word? OTT. Line wood.
I don't know if it's either of those. Is it? Anyway, that's really good progress.
Yeah,
We're
not really
fine
pleased.
if you get the carpet, really.
No.
Doors. You get
Doors.
those this week. You get carpet on. And again,
Yeah.
you can build furniture.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's us for Saturday. Are we in tomorrow?
I'm not. I'm not.
Well, on that note, I suppose that brings us to the end
But I
of
mean,
this week's video. So thanks for watching. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Hit like, subscribe when you're down there, and we will see you next week.
bye.